PHILADELPIOA Wen closes out her campaign with an election avenue tally at the Philadelphia Museum of Art on Monday. She'll be making more than punt a cultural reference to her fight against Republican presidential nominee. The boxing film, Rocky, made the landmark. But for the Harry campaign, ite Nostan is symbolic of an acute argument the vice president has been making about the fragility of American avtostasu, doing it on Ben Franklin Parkway, in the city that founded our democracy, for an election where we're lighting to save it. I think, Fuat says a lot, Harris Sr. Pennsylvania addresser Brendan Harris last week Spillelli, Washington, D.C., where then-President Trump had sand his supporters in Jan 60, 2021, just before they stormed the U.S. Capitol, the has said that Trump, who has refused to concede his 3,000 election lose to President Joe Biden and met over this weekend that would spend a second-term swing over grievances the candidates were in a dead hest in just a day of the surveys heading into the election, have already been cast. Hasia kicked off her morning in Detroit, after a series of rallies in Michigan the day believe. She had 4 scheduled stops in Pennsylvania ahead of the evening concert in Philadelphia, where she will make her final pitch to voters. The roster for her Furl rally includes Ricky Martin, Fat Joe, Oprah Winfrey and Lady Gaga. The vice president's campaign said on Monday in a call with reporter that it to win the 270 Electoral College vote is seated to anchor the presidency and emphasized Fisker's recent campaign activity across the battleground states. We are expending the resources, building the organization, maximizing our advertising and mer programming, and traveling to every one of these battleground states in the Blar Wall and the Sun Belt, backwith them all in Vialile for Russ Harris. Campaign chair Jen O'Malley Dillon said on a mall with reporters. But the fact that Harris in closing out her word presidential hit in Pennsylvania is a tacit acknowledgement that the state, which is part of DeMont's vaunted blue wall, in vital to her ability to win the White House, says what everybody already knew, which in that Pennsylvania is the key to elect an Arcas on Tuesday, said Trump-backing Republican strategist Charlie Guerin, and most Pengar believe that, I think correctly, that as Pennsylvania goes, so will go the. Harris and Trump have each stressed Pennsylvania's importance. Trump told his supporters last week that he believes the state, which has 10 electoral votes, will decide the outcome of the election. W's in your hands. If we win Pennsylvania, we are going to win the whole deal, the Republican presidential candidate said. Trump won Pennsylvania by roughly 44,000 suti in 2015 en route to the presidency. Biden won the state in 2020 by more than 800,000 votes and alas won the White Novi. Biden 4 years ago showed out Hose M. In Pittsburgh as Harvey held a wears black veteran make up a significant portion of the population. The 2,000 running mates won both cities, plus easy in the northwest, Harrisburg, in the center, and the Ly Valley in the northeastern part of the state. Ferris identified Pennsylvania as a linchpin for her campaign on a trip to Philadelphia at the end of October. Pennsylvania will be key to doubt, she told reporters. On Monday afternoon, Harris stopped by a canvass event in Scranton and then made her first visit of the campaign to the majority Hispanic city of Allentown. She, ALS stopped by a Puerto Rican restaurant in Reading with Rep. Alessandria Seo Kurtz, DNX, and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Chapin, closing out her final day on the 3024 campaign trail. Harris spoke in her supporters in Pittsburgh at a rally and concert with Katy Perry and Andra Day. Bells her late-night sally in Philadelphia. Harris supporters began arriving at the Sundor Valley in the afternoon. Hilltow resident Eric's Moom, 38, brought her daughter, Janae, 8, with her to see the vice president. After Harris was elected 4 years ago, Moore said Janae told her that she wanted to be vice president when she grew. And what I said to my daughter was, by the time you're old enough to run for office, you'll probably be able to be the president. Moore said, so it was important for her to see low vice president Hattis handwork over the last 4 years in serving as has paid, often afforded her this opportunity and for my daughter to and that you can do anything you want with hard work and by putting your beat foot forward. Los Angeles resident Jonty Nama, 37, came to Philadelphia by way of Harrisburg. Shoes the vice president rallied her supporters lot week. She came to canvass for Harris Saad, dadented the Philadelphia Tay, with her dog Fex. Amaya said the former California attorney general and senator was relatively new to her and we had not cast a halo for her in her previous odes. But I'm like totally into het. Amaya said, there couldn't be a more prepared person to take over our country. Right now, the vice president is following Ashed by who have won elections as the state over the past 4 years, including U.S. Sen. Jim Fetterman, who has been campaigning for Harris in rural parts of the state. Trump had large victories in many of those counties in the last presidential election. WVEN as Democrats running statewide have been able to minimize their Republican opponents' vote counts. Fetterman campaigned over the weekend with former President Bill Clinton in Butler County, East Pittsburgh, and Erie County, which the senator described as the ultimate bellwether in the state if not in the nation. The spent Sunday in Beaver County, another tramp one county outside of Pittsburgh. That Harris, her campaigns, is a phone call from the road. Fetterman stressed the importance of campaigning beyond Philadelphia and the Wen core of Pittsburgh in the motor parts of the state. They're the ones that gem up the margins. Fetterman said, it's never about ite surrounding counties before shifting her focus to Philadelphia and its suburbs in the final weeks of the most. Mare recently, she has focused on counties in which the campaign believes it can turn mute Sudreton women and anti-Trump Republicans. She has visited Philadelphia's collar counties and targeted cities that have traditionally voted for Democrats such as Harrisburg, former Trump 2024 primary opponent Nikki Haley GOP. Vanessa in those areas even though she was to Honger running for president by the time Pennsylvania's Republicana went to the polls. Gino, who lives in the Democratic Damland T. stronghold of Harria, the Strateg, Nikki Haley has made it very, 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 very clear that she's 100% for Donald Trump, and her supporters aren't going to say, oh, well, we don't like Trump. Ergo, we like Hartis, he said. They're just going to do that. I mean, Kamala Harris is the most left-wing candidate that has ever run on a major party ticket. Fisker's campaign says it's running a strategy that includes communicating with voters in the more conservative put of the T. Been a really important part of our campaign that we go everywhere and talk to everyone and have very authentic and earnest interactions with Fulla, said McPhillips. Harris' endgame visit to Allentown on Monday was an example of how in the STDAVVIATED campaign the candidate herself could not be everywhere. Her stop in the city that she and Biden won 4 years ago came after Trump's V8 about Puerto Rico from an insult somic at the Republican candidate's Madison Square Garden rally. Allentown has a large Puerto Rican population. She's showing up, and it demonstrates the commitment that she's made throughout the entire campaign, that she's going to fight BU every last vote, Fetterman said of Harris. Election Eve events across the state. Sound Jesty Mandong Mbuff was in Lancaster and Altoona on Saturday while his wife campaigned in Stir Battleground states. Biden also campaigned in Pennyfrony on Saturday, in his childhood home of Bradenton, and former First Lady Michelle Obama held a rally in Philadelphia. First Lady Jill Biden campaigned in the Philly suburbs and Barrisburg on Sunday. Ferris traveled to Arizona and Nevada late last week, spent Friday in Wisconsin, WWUNG, through Georgia and North Carolina on Saturday, and campaigned in Michigan on Sunday before her arrival in Pennsylvania. On Monday, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, the Democratic nominee for vice president, made multiple stops in Wisconsin. He will end his night in Detroit. You saw on the National Mall what a president sounds like, Walz said at a rally in Milwaukee. When Kamala and I talk about freedoms, we mean the people shall be free to make their own decision, not